My grandmother, Tinny's mom, is the most incredible example of this you could ever see in your life. She is a woman who, when her entire life, my entire memory of her and my mom's entire memory of her, when she walks into a room, she is a presence. You know, there are some people that just have a presence, and they are a force to be reckoned with, and that is the phrase I think of when I think of her. She has always known who she is and where she's going and why she's important. And I cannot think of a single anecdote in which she has ever sat me down and talked about herself to me in terms of what she does and what she's accomplished. I know most of her stories. She's phenomenal, and someday I will put together a book or a speech about that, and it will be the most interesting thing I have ever said in my entire life, much more than things I can make up out of my head. Because she's a fascinating individual, and she has traveled over continents and hemispheres and across oceans, and she has survived wars. And she was in an arranged marriage at age 17, had a baby at 18, lost her husband at 19. I mean, she's done everything, and she's fearless. She is just fearless. And she doesn't care if you like it or not. She really doesn't. She'll say anything to you. Trust me, she has said everything to me. Natalie called and said, I know you guys are having a really hard time this week. If you need to postpone tonight, you can. No one's going to think less. It's not going to be a problem. We don't want to stress you out. And I was like, are you kidding me? She will kill me. She will beat me to death with her oxygen tube. Yep. She'll take me out. There is no way. And it's because she is this unapologetic woman of God who has horrified the Armenian church all her life because it is such a traditional church. She used to show up to church when my mom was little, and she wears sunglasses the whole service just to piss off the priest. Before her time, we had even in the state she's in right now, the other day we were in her room, and the chaplain from the hospital came in. Sweet, sweet lady. And she says, she walks in, and there's like 10 or 15 of us, and a ridiculous amount of people. And the chaplain says, well, I came in to see if you needed support, but I can see that you don't. And Nizma was awake and lucid, and she looked at her and she said, this is my family. And this is always how they are. And it's how it is on both ways. If anybody needs something, this is what we do. This is how we gather around each other, and this is how the woman is like bawling. She's the chaplain who's supposed to be praying for us, and she was crying. And so my dad teases her, and she said, you know, do you need me to bring anyone in to pray for you? And she says, are you Catholic? And I was like, nope, which I did not mean to come out that quickly, but I didn't want her to start sending other people in. And my dad says, yeah, I got an Armenian Orthodox priest on that list. And he says she has actually been close personal friends with the patriarch of the Armenian church in Jerusalem. And she was born there. And the woman is so overwhelmed. I'm not kidding, because I cannot make this up. She falls over. She comes and stands in front of my grandmother's bed, and she bows. Bows and will not move. Head down, bowing. And she goes, would you bless me? I can't even make this up. And I was like, that's good. I don't know if we're allowed to do that. First of all, she's not a priest. We're also not Catholic. And so in this tubes coming out of everywhere, and this huge oxygen mask on her face, and the woman's just staying there, and Miss sitting there, and her eyes were like kind of half closed, and she kind of rolled him, and at first I thought she rolled him because she was falling back asleep, and she looked at me sideways, and I was like, maybe you could just touch her hair. And I'm not kidding, she doesn't even change expression, she goes, I pumped her with my pants. I was and I lean over and I go, she's finished. I mean, the only thing funnier would have been if she had said, go forth and sin no more. Like, and the lady's like backing out of the room. Like, okay, you know. She really and was. That's her. And I don't think it ever occurred to her that it was not her place to bless this woman. She knows her place. So funny. She knows what she's done and where she's been. It would not have occurred to her to tell the woman I was close personal friends with the patriarch of the Armenian church, or that she ran in Jerusalem on the streets where Jesus walked, or that she was raised there, or that she used to climb the Wailing Wall and laugh at the Muslims.
caught it on fire.
Because she thought that was funny. So anytime you're feeling rebellious, just know that you have probably not done something that dangerous ever in your life. Going to South America, she, as a single mom, raised my mom, took care of her entire family, ran a business, came up to the United States when my mom had the guts to say she wanted to marry an American, to drag her back to South America by the hair. And when that didn't work, threatened him to live with him forever. And when he didn't believe her, she moved in, and it's been 40 years, and she's still there. And I am blessed. I am blessed to have had this woman in my life, because she has shown. And you know, I don't think anybody who meets her would ever use the word humble or say she is a woman of humility or a woman of quiet confidence, because she is so not quiet, ever. Goes with a name, I think. But she's an example to me of someone who knows her worth. And she knows her place in this world. And she doesn't have to tell you. You feel it when you're in front of her. She is 85 years old. And I can honestly say she has lived an unapologetic existence. When I am 85 years old, my granddaughter says that about me, I will consider my work done very well. Very well. Because I think to be a daughter of the King, you have to be unapologetic in how you do everything, in how you love people, and in how you bless others, and in how you accept yourself. And how you understand and live the phrase, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And you can say that because you know his works are wonderful. I know that full well. And I would like that if you go home with nothing else for tonight. Psalm 139:14. Take that with you. Put it somewhere this week where you can see it and you can read it and do it over and over again until you believe it. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. And his works are wonderful. He took the time and the effort and thought to put you together and to put me together and put the woman next to you together exactly how he wanted us to be. We will shift and change outside of that because we're flawed. And because the people around us are flawed. And because circumstances will knock us off of the exact path where he set us. And that's okay, because he saw that coming too. But I have to think when I'm having days where I am frustrated and stubborn and down. And I think, you know, I'm a gifts person. Like I said, it's one of my top love languages. And if I were to work so hard on a gift that I put together, and I made with you in mind, and I did it perfect for you, knowing exactly how you needed it, and I were to bring it to you, and for the next 80 years, every time you talked to me, you were like, you know, that was so sweet. It would have been so much better if you had done this one like you did Shane's. I mean, it's great and all, don't get me wrong. And I appreciate all your effort, really liking me and all, that was great. But I just wish you would have done it a little different. I can't even imagine how frustrating that is. Because when my children do that, when I hand them something that they're happy with, and then they look at their sibling and they're like, why didn't you give me his? I sit there and I go, are you serious? You were happy 3 seconds ago. I did this because this is what you need. And because I love you, and because I know this is what's best for you. Don't sit there and complain to me that I didn't do it like I did your brothers or your sisters. And I think, how embarrassing is it that I do that all the time? Because when I do that, I can't have a heart of gratitude. And joy is rooted in gratitude. You cannot have a joyful heart if you don't have a grateful heart. So we've circled back to the heart. And I think in everything we do, it all comes back to the heart. Because he put that in us to be loved and to grow and to be beaten and bruised and heal so that it can be beaten and bruised again. You know, with Mitzvah stuff, interestingly enough, one of the things they thought with her was cardiac function, and they have been blown away because they keep coming in and saying, her heart's fine. We don't understand how it's not her heart. It's her lungs, which are just as important. But I appreciate the fact that they keep saying it's not her heart. Which kind of sums up the whole walking with confidence. It's in our hearts. And I can honestly tell every single one of you here that I am completely in love with your hearts because you are here. And we are doing this together. And we have made a commitment together to grow the sisterhood. And we have made a commitment together to be better and to be stronger, and we're going to do that together. We're going to do events like next month where we bait our hook like a girl. I am not going to be touching your bait, but there are some people who have volunteered to do that. We're going to do some unusual things together as a group, and we are going to be a family here. Because I think women have amazing hearts, and I love them. And I want to be loved by them. And the number one way that that's going to happen is by reaching out and handing my heart to all of you. You have all been amazing this week. I can't tell you the texts and the prayers and the support you've shown by being here tonight. Thank you so much. For those of you that have gone on, for those of you that don't know, I finally got the guts up and kicked off my blog this week because I'm crazy and this was not the week to do it. It's out there. For those of you that have shared it on Facebook or bothered to read it at all, thank you so much. You have no idea what that's done for me. I was like jumping around the other day because it had 15 clicks on Facebook. I'm like, Melanie Schenkel said there were like 80,000 a week, and I'm like, 15! And you know what? That's okay. Because I love all of you. And I love this group. And I think it's beautiful. Let's pray together.